Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we will take a look at the top 10 most decisive battles in history. Hope you enjoy the video. Starting off the list at number 10 is the Battle of Marathon. This was a pivotal clash between the Athenian forces and the Persian Empire in 490 BC. It occurred on the plains of Marathon, located about 26 miles northeast of Athens, Greece. The Persian invasion of Greece was a response to Athenian support for the Ionian Greek cities that had revolted against Persian rule. Led by the Athenian general Miltiades, the Athenian army, outnumbered by the Persians, deployed in a crescent formation to maximize their firepower. The Greek hoplites, armed with spears and shields, formed a dense phalanx, a formidable defensive formation. As the Persian forces advanced, the Athenians held their ground, unleashing a devastating volley of arrows. When the Persian army closed in, the Greek hoplites charged, breaking through the Persian lines and driving them back to their ships. The Athenian victory at Marathon was a significant blow to the Persian Empire and helped to inspire the Greeks to resist further invasions. At number 9 on our list, we have the Battle of Saratoga. This battle was fought in upstate New York in 1776. This was a pivotal turning point in the American Revolutionary War. It consisted of two separate battles, the Battle of Freeman's Farm and the Battle of Byrnes Heights. The British general, John Burgoyne, led a large army south from Canada with the intention of cutting off New England from the rest of the colonies. However, his advance was slowed by difficult terrain, supply shortages, and attacks from American forces led by General Horatio Gates. In the first battle at Freeman's Farm, the British achieved a minor victory, but they were unable to decisively defeat the Americans. In the second battle at Byrnes Heights, the Americans launched a counterattack and forced Burgoyne's army to retreat. Faced with dwindling supplies and the threat of encirclement, Burgoyne surrendered his army to Gates on October 17, 1777. The American victory at Saratoga was a major morale boost for the Continental Army and convinced France to enter the war as an ally of the Americans, providing critical military and financial support. At number 8 on our list, we have the Battle of Midway. This battle was fought in June 1942. This was declared a decisive naval victory for the United States over the Imperial Japanese Navy. The battle marked a turning point in the Pacific theater of World War II, as it halted Japan's naval expansion and forced the Japanese to adopt a defensive strategy. The Japanese planned a surprise attack on Midway Atoll, a strategically important island in the Central Pacific. However, American intelligence had intercepted Japanese radio transmissions, revealing their plans. Using this information, the U.S. Navy was able to set a trap for the Japanese fleet. When the Japanese carriers launched their aircraft to attack Midway, the American carriers, which had been waiting in ambush, counterattacked, sinking 4 Japanese aircraft carriers and severely damaging another. The American victory at Midway was a major blow to Japanese naval power and helped to secure the Pacific for the Allies. At number 7 on our list, we had the Battle of Stalingrad. This battle was fought between the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany from July 1942 to February 1943. This was one of the bloodiest and most decisive battles of World War II. It was a strategic confrontation for both sides. At Stalingrad, a major industrial center on the Volga River, was a vital gateway to the Soviet Union's vast resources. The German army, led by Field Marshal Friedrich Paulus, launched a massive offensive aimed at capturing Stalingrad. After fierce fighting, the Germans managed to encircle the city and trap the Soviet defenders. However, the Soviets, under the command of General Vasily Zhukov, refused to surrender. Despite facing overwhelming odds and enduring extreme hardship, the Soviet forces fought with relentless determination, using every building and piece of terrain to their advantage. The battle reached its climax in the winter of 1943, when the Soviet counteroffensive, codenamed Operation Uranus, encircled the German forces in Stalingrad. Cut off from supplies and reinforcements, the German army was forced to surrender. The defeat at Stalingrad was a devastating blow to the Nazi war effort. marking a turning point in the Eastern Front. The battle also demonstrated the incredible resilience of the Soviet people and their unwavering determination to defend their homeland. At number 6 on our list, we have the Battle of Gettysburg. This battle was fought in July 1863. This was one of the most pivotal battles of the American Civil War. It was a clash between the Union Army of the Potomac, led by General George G. Meade, and the Confederate Army of Northern Virginia, led by General Robert E. Lee. The battle began on July 1st when Confederate forces under General James Longstreet encountered Union cavalry near Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. A series of skirmishes ensued. On both sides gradually reinforced their positions. On July 2nd, the main Confederate assault focused on the left flank of the Union line, but it was ultimately repulsed. The decisive day of the battle was July 3rd, when Lee ordered a frontal assault on the Union center known as Pickett's Charge. Despite heavy casualties, Pickett's men advanced across an open field, but they were met by a withering barrage of artillery fire and musketry from the Union defenders. The charge was ultimately defeated, and the Confederate Army was forced to retreat. The Union victory at Gettysburg was a major setback for the Confederacy and helped to turn the tide of the war in favor of the Union. At number 5 on our list, we had the Battle of Waterloo. This battle was fought on June 18, 1815. This was a decisive victory for the Allied forces led by the Duke of Wellington over Napoleon Bonaparte's French army. The battle marked the end of Napoleon's reign as Emperor of France and ushered in a period of relative peace in Europe. Napoleon, having escaped from exile on the island of Elba, had rallied his forces and returned to power in France. The Allied powers, including Britain, Prussia, and Russia, formed a coalition to oppose his return. The decisive confrontation took place on the battlefield of Waterloo near Brussels, Belgium. Napoleon's strategy was to isolate and defeat the Prussian army before turning his attention to the British. However, a series of miscalculations and delays allowed the Prussians to join the battle, reinforcing the Allied forces. The final assault on the Allied lines by Napoleon's Imperial Guard was ultimately repulsed, and the French army was forced to retreat. The defeat at Waterloo marked the end of Napoleon's reign and secured the future of the Allied powers in Europe. At number 4 on our list, we have the Battle of Tours. This battle was fought in 732 AD. This was a decisive victory for the Frankish army, led by Charles Martel over the Muslim forces invading from Spain. This battle is often considered a turning point in European history, as it halted the westward expansion of Islam into Western Europe. The Muslim armies, led by Abd al-Rahman al-Ghafiqi, had been making significant gains in the Iberian Peninsula, and their goal was to extend their conquest into Gaul, modern-day France. Charles Martel, the mayor of the palace under the Merovingian kings, gathered a large Frankish army to confront the invaders. The battle took place near the city of Tours in central France. The outcome of the battle was uncertain for much of the day, but ultimately the Franks were able to repel the Muslim attack. The victory at Tours helped to preserve Christian Europe and ensured the survival of Frankish civilization. Achieving the third rank on our list is the Battle of Hastings. This battle was fought on October 14, 1066. This was a decisive victory for William the Conqueror, Duke of Normandy, over King Harold Godwinson of England. This battle marked the beginning of the Norman conquest of England, a pivotal event in English history that would significantly shape the country's culture, language, and political system. The Norman invasion of England was triggered by the death of King Edward the Confessor in January 1066. Harold Godwinson, a powerful English nobleman, was crowned king, but his claim to the throne was disputed by William of Normandy, who claimed to have promised the English crown by Edward. William assembled a large fleet and army, crossing the English Channel to invade England. The two armies met on the battlefield of Hastings in southeastern England. The battle was fiercely contested, with both sides employing traditional medieval tactics, including cavalry charges and infantry formations. The Normans, known for their superior military organization and discipline, eventually gained the upper hand, breaking through the English lines and forcing Harold's army to retreat. Harold himself was killed during the battle, and the English resistance collapsed. William was crowned King of England on Christmas Day in 1066, marking the beginning of the Norman dynasty. Arriving at the second spot on our list is the Battle of Gaga. This battle was fought in 331 BC. This was a decisive victory for Alexander the Great's Macedonian army over the Persian Empire led by King Darius III. This battle marked the climax of Alexander's conquest of the Persian Empire and solidified his reputation as one of the greatest military commanders in history. Darius III, seeking to avenge his defeat at the Battle of Issus, had assembled a massive army to confront Alexander. The battle took place on the plains of Gaugamela, near the Tigris River in northern Mesopotamia. Alexander employed a flanking maneuver, dividing his forces into three main groups and attacking the Persian army from multiple directions. The Persian cavalry, though numerous, was unable to effectively counter Alexander's tactics. The Persian infantry, while outmatched in terms of discipline and equipment, fought bravely, but was ultimately overwhelmed by Alexander's forces. Darius III was forced to flee the battlefield, leaving Alexander in control of the Persian Empire. The victory at Gaugamela marked the beginning of the Hellenistic era, a period of Greek cultural and political dominance in the Middle East and beyond. Achieving the number one spot on our list is the Battle of Alisia. This battle was fought in 52 BC. This was a pivotal victory for Julius Caesar's Roman army over the Gallic forces led by Vercingetorix. This battle marked the end of the Gallic Wars and solidified Roman control over Gaul, modern-day France. Vercingetorix, a Gallic chieftain, had united the Gallic tribes in a rebellion against Roman rule. He had besieged the Roman garrison at Alisia, a fortified hilltop town in central Gaul. Caesar, determined to crush the rebellion, assembled a large army and marched to relieve the besieged garrison. Upon arriving at Alisia, Caesar constructed a double ring of fortifications, encircling both the Roman garrison and the Gallic besiegers. The Gallic forces, trapped inside Caesar's double ring, were in a desperate situation. They attempted to break out of the siege, but their efforts were repelled by the Roman army. Meanwhile, Vercingetorix sought to rally additional Gallic tribes to his cause, but his efforts were unsuccessful. Faced with starvation and the threat of annihilation, Vercingetorix surrendered to Caesar, marking the end of the Gallic Wars. The victory at Alisia secured Roman dominance in Gaul and paved the way for the Roman Empire expansion into other parts of Europe. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to subscribe and comment down below which battles do you think was more deserving of a spot on this list.